friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about a brand new palette from Melt Cosmetics. This is the Rust palette. This is currently available. I ordered mine from Sephora. I actually snagged this on the last day of the VIB sale. I placed a second VIB sale order, which I usually never do, but I really wanted to grab this palette and just a couple other things while I still had that 20% off. So I am very happy that I was able to snag this during the sale because $58, it's pretty pricey for a palette no matter what, but this palette only has 10 shades. Now, this palette is quite large. It's hard to tell in photos really how big this palette is. Just to give you an idea of the size, this is the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. I think a lot of people are familiar with the size of these Anastasia palettes, so I think this is a pretty good reference point. But this thing is large and in charge. And one thing I notice right away as soon as I grabbed this out of the box is the weight of it. It has a lot of heft, so it feels very substantial. It does feel very luxurious. The outer packaging has some texture on it. So those types of details, at least for me, they make a difference and it does help justify the price. The shadow pans in here are pretty large too, so even though there are only 10 shades, you're getting a pretty meaty eyeshadow pan right here. So let's take a close-up look at the packaging. Has this cool rust look to it. Like I said, it has a little bit of texture to it, nothing too unpleasant. I like the juxtaposition of this very corroded looking design with this really fancy like scrolled script word rust. This is a heavy duty cardboard and it does feel coated. This does have a magnetic closure, so you get that satisfying magnet feel. When you look inside, there is a nice big mirror in here. And then, of course, the 10 eyeshadow shades. This is a very matte palette. There's only 3 shimmers and the remaining 7 shades are mattes. Now that you've seen the palette up close and personal, I do want to go ahead and show you some swatches of this palette. I will be doing both finger and brush swatches, just like I always do. The swatches will be done on the inside of my arm with no primer down first, just the shadows straight onto my skin. The finger swatches will be pictured on top and then each corresponding brush swatch will be directly below. For my brush swatches, I'll use my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush and I'll clean the brush off in between each shade using my Vera Mona color switch. That way there's no transfer between swatches. So let's go ahead and take a look at those swatches now. Here are the swatches. Just a reminder that the finger swatches are on top and the brush swatches are below. I think these brush swatches look exactly the same, if not better, on those darker matte shades than the finger swatches. When you look at the opacity and how even and smooth those brush swatches look, and even look at the lighter shades, the intensity, the impact is there with one little swipe of the brush. I am so thoroughly impressed. Now that you've seen the palette swatched, let's take a look at a quick tutorial. I'll show you how I got this eye look that I'm wearing today, of course, using the Rust palette, and then I'll wrap up all my thoughts at the end. No surprise here, I'm starting off by priming my eyes just like I always do with my favorite eye base. It's the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Then I decided to set the entire eyelid with this really light creamy matte shade called Classic. Now we're going to get started with my absolute favorite shade in this palette. This is Erode. It's a really bright marigold yellow, and I'm just taking my time working that into the crease. As you can see, the pigmentation is really, really intense, but this does take a decent amount of work blending. It's not really so much building it up as it is getting a nice smooth blend. Next, I'm using this mustardy brown shade called Rubbish. I'm going to put that on the lower lash line with a small flat brush. Then I'm going to be mixing Rubbish and Rust for the deeper part on the outer part of my eye. So just building that up with a really small fluffy detail brush to start to get some depth there. And then I went back in with Erode and blended everything again just so that we get a nice smooth looking transition. Doing a yellow mustardy smoky eye is not the easiest thing in the world, but it is my new favorite look. Now I'm taking tarnish and putting that all over the rest of my lid. These metallics were so easy to apply. Now I'm taking this deep reddish brown shade called Mar on a pencil brush, and I'm doing sort of a smudgy faux baby cat eye, just really making that look nice and messy and smoky, but I wanted some depth. Then I curled my lashes and added my Wander Beauty Unlashed mascara. That's my finished look. I love this. It's warm, it's layered without being too complicated. It has sort of a smudgy looseness to the look, but it just really was so fun, so easy. I loved wearing this look, and I've been wearing it a ton since I made this video. Overall, I'm definitely a fan of this palette. I think I need to play with it some more to get comfortable with these deeper shades. When I was swatching and when I was applying, I had the most trouble with the deeper shades, particularly the darker mattes. These shadows are a very unique formula. They're extremely pigmented, as you saw from the swatches, but they're not that soft, powdery type of pigmented that, say, an Anastasia has. These shadows, they're not dry, they're just stiff. I imagine that they're just pressed really hard or something. Because they're incredibly pigmented, they do take a little bit more work to blend than a ColourPop palette or even an Anastasia. But with this stiffer formula, while the blending takes some work, they really stay put, they really stay true to color on the eye. Even when I'm working with these murky, yellowy, mustardy browns, these are shades that can get muddy so quickly, and as I was blending, I was pleasantly surprised, even when I was really working those shadows together, that the colors stayed very true. So I definitely wouldn't say that these are dry feeling, because even to the touch, you can tell they have a really beautiful pigmentation to them. I would just say they're really hard packed and a bit stiffer. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend a formula like this to somebody who's a beginner or just getting used to applying their makeup, not really comfortable with a lot of blending and a lot of working on that eyeshadow. So that's really the only criticism I have for this palette. That's not even really a criticism, it's just sort of something I wanted to point out. I don't know that this type of formula is great for a beginner, but otherwise I was very happy with this. I didn't mind a little extra blending because the finished product was so lovely, so true to color. Also, because of that stiffer or like more hard pressed formula, I find that these shadows stay put for a really long time. Because I have a bit of a hooded lid, a lot of the time my shadows will start to bunch up in that crease area after a few hours, and these stay put so well. The wear is fantastic on this formula. Whenever a brand can manage to do a neutral palette that is interesting, that really gets me excited, and I think that this Rust palette definitely falls into that category. Certainly this is an overwhelmingly brown, neutral, nude type of palette, but just with the addition of this warm peach, this really bright marigold shade, and then the more sort of pukey, poopy, mustardy browns. I know that sounds so gross, but these really are very fun colors to work with. They can be very flattering on the eye. I mean, I think they look good. The shimmers, even though there are only 3 shimmers in here, they are intensely metallic, very beautiful, one swipe application. I love that. I love shimmer on the lid. The shimmers in this palette have been truly a joy to work with and to apply. It is quite expensive. It is an expensive neutral palette. It definitely inspires me. It excites me. I've enjoyed working with it. I even enjoyed swatching it. And I'm probably going to enjoy taking pictures of it. I can see myself doing a few different looks with this. I think a really simple 2 shadow look with this peach and this rose gold would be a really pretty, feminine, rose gold type of eye. Of course, the look I'm wearing right now with this yellow shade is probably going to be my go-to. You could also do something a little bit more classically neutral. You can definitely get some really smoky looks out of this. I definitely am excited by this palette. I'm feeling interested and inspired, and that's always a very special thing for me because I have just tried so many palettes and nothing really feels new anymore, and this feels exciting and new to me. So overall, I'm very, very happy with it. It's a little bit colorful, it's a little bit grungy, it's approachable and inspiring at the same time. I'm just really happy with this. I'm happy with this purchase. This is my second Melt Cosmetics palette, and I would definitely purchase from them again in the future because I've had a lot of luck with their eyeshadow palettes. Even though they are pricey, for me it feels worth it to get something that feels like it was thoughtfully made. Obviously, I'm a fan of this palette. I would love to hear what you think about the Rust palette. Are you interested in this one? Are you just over every iteration of neutral palette? I always love to hear what you guys think too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Mine from Sephora. What just happened? Okay, let's try that again. This thing is like a weapon. I mean, I don't know. I wish I could convey the weight to you. I mean, I guess I could weigh it, but I don't have like a kitchen scale. What am I even talking about? The lengths we'll go to give a thorough review. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Extra? Yes. Bad? Not necessarily. I'm obsessed with this lip oil. I'm gonna use it all up so quickly. I've been going hard on this lip oil. It's good. If it's good, it's good. Oh, excuse me, I burped. I mean, honestly, can we just not? What am I saying? What are you talking about? Get it together. I've really, if the Soft Glam palette had an interesting, like, moody sister that went to art school and unironically wore Nirvana shirts. Ugh. Wow. So I'm sure that saying this is a jazz hands. Okay, I don't know. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Hopefully this video is interesting because the views have been pretty sad lately. Who knew? I thought YouTube would be popping and it's not. It's fine. I'm fine. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Okay, hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.